of people don't really understand, they understand, what the company is offering to you, but you also might not fully understand, well, what are the catches? What are some of the things that this bonus or whatever is doing? And so today I hope to cover a lot of that for you guys. So, um, the one thing I like to do when I share with my team, how to pick the right company. Of course, we know an amazing product is a vital must. But beyond that, of course, too, what's also really important is having the right kind of compensation plan. So I'm going to take you over a few key things that we have to look for in terms of what makes a compensation plan pitfall. What are the dangers? So if you have a piece of paper and pencil ready, I hope you guys are ready for this. So again, you don't have to be a genius to understand what I'm going to teach you. But with what I'm going to teach you, you're going to sound like you're a genius. So the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, in a compensation plan, how many legs do you have to build? So a bit of a history lesson for you. In direct sales that has spanned now for well over 60, 70 years, there are typically four main types of compensation plans that are actually legal, that companies must abide by, okay? The first one is what we call unilevel. Okay, unilevel, I'm gonna type in the group chat how you spell it. And what unilevel means is if you have your business center, okay, your personal account, unilevel means that you can personally introduce as many legs as you want. So in opulence, for an example, we have two legs, which means you essentially build two teams, right? In other companies, if you're in a unilevel plan, you have to build sometimes minimum 6 legs, sometimes 8 legs. And sometimes the way that the plan is designed is you want to build as many legs as possible. But let's take a look at, well, what can become the issues or the dangers with that? And so one simple way to understand is, common sense wise, is it easier to build 20 legs or is it easier to build, let's say, 5 legs? So in the chat box, type your answer. What's easier to build? Building 20 different teams at the same time and 20 legs, or is building 5 teams or 5 legs easier? So please go ahead and type your answer into the chat box. Because again, yes, so I'm seeing the answer, 5 legs would be much better than 20, right? Yeah, someone says the less the legs, the better. So my final question in this matter is 5 legs better or is 2 legs better? Just common sense wise, right? Just thinking about effort and trying to manage that many teams, right? 2 is enough, right? And 2 is the minimum amount legally. There's no such thing as a 1 leg plan. That's actually illegal when it comes to direct sales. 2 legs, right? But have you ever thought about the consequences when you have to build more than 2 legs? Let's say you have 10 friends, and these 10 friends, maybe 5 know each other and the other 5. So you have two groups of 5, right? If you have 10 legs, you have to split 10 people, because usually in a unilevel plan, the first layer pays you a higher commission. Does that make sense, guys? In most unilevel plans, the first level, or the people directly below you, typically they pay you the most amount. Okay, so you're sort of incentivized to want to go and build more people on the first level, right? However, if all those 10 people know each other, let me ask you guys a question. What's going to happen now that you split up all 10 friends into 10 different legs? What do you think might happen? So take some time to write your answers down. Okay. What's going to happen if you split up 10 of your friends who know each other, who have the same group of friends, but you divide these 10 people into 10 different legs because you are in a unilevel plan? So in the chat box, please type in, what do you think would happen if you were to do this? Let me wait to see if we can have some answers come in here. See what people say. Yes, so Young says competition. That is 100% the correct answer. Because these 10 people, guess what? They have common friends, right? Now, these 10 people who know the common friends are going to be fighting each other to try to get their friends to go underneath them. Whereas, again, if you had the minimum amount of legs you have to build, which we just discussed is 2 is the minimum, right? Then these friends, you can kind of group them. So for me, when I first got started, I had like my badminton friends on one leg. I had my university friends on my other leg. I put coworkers on one leg. I try to group people together because that way you create what's called synergy, not competition, but synergy. Peng put another very important point that I want to make sure I cover. So aside from competition, which is the biggest thing, it's also you don't have time to try to manage that many legs. It's enough work as it is trying to build 2 legs and managing all the partners in 2 legs. Trying to build 10 legs or 20 legs is just exhausting. So in a unilevel plan, again, it's most companies nowadays don't try to pick unilevel if they actually know what they're actually doing. So, and the other important thing to remember, so again, in terms of how many legs, we all know that 2 is the easiest, right? But there's a unilevel plan, which is you build very wide, but you only get paid down to usually 6 to 10 levels or generations. So it will not pay to infinity. The second kind of plan that you can build is called a matrix. And the matrix is always an X by Y. X meaning how many legs wide, X is how many legs wide can you build, and Y refers to how deep can you build. It's always an X by Y, okay? So in a matrix, they might fix you on how many legs, I guess sort of wide can you build, but they also fix you on how many legs deep you can build. So, but again, with most matrices, they won't say to build 10, 20 legs. They might say build 3 to 4 to 5 legs, but they still cap you at 10 levels deep. So you don't get paid to infinity. It's another really dangerous thing that, again, just makes no sense, right? And the last kind of plan is what we call, and if you guys don't understand this, I'm just going to try to show you guys some diagram here. It's my old PowerPoint, and it should be mostly updated. I'm just going to send this to you guys. Take a look at this together. So again, in your level, you can see here, you can have infinite people on the first level. They can have infinite people on the second level, and then they can have infinite people on their third level. Again, you don't get paid usually down more than 8 to 10 generations. And so it doesn't really make any sense. In a matrix, you can see here, X by Y. So if you see a 2 by 10 matrix, it means everyone can have 2 legs, but you get paid to 10 levels deep. A 3 by 5 would mean you can get 3 legs wide, but get built down to 5 levels deep. But then you can see here, right? Oftentimes, unilevels and matrices, they pay you more on the first level. So you feel like you're making more money. But the second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, you see how the percentages are going down? So there's many variations, but the biggest downfall of the matrix plan, again, is you only get paid down to Y. So even if Y is 100 levels deep, it's not good because it's not infinity. And in our company, a binary essentially a 2 by infinite plan. You get 2 legs, but you get paid to infinity, right? So that's a matrix. And so whenever you see game over, it means if you ever see a plan that's unilevel, don't even bother looking at it. It's not worth your time because you won't get paid to infinity. So we call it game over. Matrix again, game over. The next type of plan you can come across in the industry is what we call a stair-step breakaway plan. And so it's a funny name, but there's basically 2 components to this plan. It's also the most confusing plan for a lot of people. But you have a stair-step portion, which is the way that you can advance ranks. So the way that stair-step works is, let's say you're a brand new distributor, and what happens is if you, for example, build a team of 2 people and your sales reach a certain amount of sales, then you get bumped up to what's called like a assistant supervisor, and you might get 5% on all the sales that your team does. But hang on here, right? It gets really, really kind of deceivious and gets really annoying, as you'll see what happens. But as you have a bigger team, or you sponsor more people, or you have more sales, there's always some kind of a criteria. You have a higher rank. So now you become a supervisor, and your commission from 5% goes up to 8%. This is the stair-step portion. You're climbing up the stairs to get a higher commission payout. So then assistant manager, you might have to have 75 people, or you might have to have a bigger team, or more sales volume, or a combination of these things. And you will get a higher commission, let's say 13%, right? And then of course you move along, and then you hit manager, which might be the top rank. And that's like, 120 people or X amount of sales. And now you have the 18% commission. So this part, is pretty exciting for some people maybe. I don't like it how, you get more percentages. Like in Opulence Global, you get, like it's in Opulence, it's fair. If you start today and you're a lifestyle advisor, and I've been in the company for, let's say, 13 years, and I'm like a lifestyle director for, we get paid the same commission cycle. So what I mean is, if you had 5,400 CV, you get paid 460. If I have 5,400 CV, I get paid 460. It's fair that way. If you were to follow these kind of plans, if you had 5,400 CV, it might only pay you $200. But paying me 460, that to me is like annoying, right? It's not really fair, because you're doing the work, you should get paid for it. So what happens here though is, once you hit the top plan, you might be feeling really excited and whatnot, but here comes the breakaway. And what the breakaway does is, if, let's say, in your team you had someone else who was an assistant manager. Now think about this, right? If you were a manager and no one in your team was any of these three ranks, you would earn 18%. But that's not likely. You're going to have at least one person in your team who's going to be perhaps the assistant manager. So the company can't pay you 18% and pay them 13%, right? So what they do, because that's 31%, they only have 18% maximum to pay out. What they do is, they pay this guy the 13%, and guess what they pay you? They pay you 5%. So in other words, if you are helping someone in your team to advance ranks, and they became your rank as well, or they became like this assistant manager in this example, then, so let's say you are the manager right now, okay? You being you guys on the call, and you sponsored me. And let's say I was in your team and I became the assistant manager, okay? From me downwards, all the sales that I do, and it's a lot, right? Because I'm the assistant manager, I must have 75 people. So everyone from me downwards, guess what happens to your commission? If you're getting 18% on me before, well, now you only get 5%. So it's really backwards. We call what our CEO teaches in the Forensic Networker in his chapter called Composition Plan Contradictions. It's a contradiction. Like, you want to help your team succeed, help your team build a bigger team, help your team members have more sales. But if they go too well and they match your rank, now you get impacted and you take back a lot less. So that's one downside, and that's really annoying. In Opulence, if it doesn't matter what rank you are, because it never impacts your commissions. And that's the beautiful thing about Opulence Global. But let's take this one step further. Okay, what happens, excuse me, a bit thirsty. What happens if you sponsored me, I was a manager? What would have happened if I actually became a manager? So you were the manager, I'm somewhere in your team, and from me downwards, let's say I'm right below you, so there's no one between me and you. what happens if I were to become the manager? Any guesses? Can we see if anyone can have a guess here in the chat box? Type me what you think happens if you sponsored me, you were the manager, and then I became a manager. What do you think would happen? Let's see some. Amy says Breakaway. Han says 0%. Yes, so you guys are correct. You're correct. Yeah, Peng says you don't care about me anymore. That is correct too, because you have no more financial gain from what I do, because the company can't pay both of us 18%. So I get it. Now me and my whole entire team, we essentially break away from you. So again, this is like a horrible thing, but there's so many ways that companies will present their compensation plan that if you don't really know what to look for, you might get sort of sold on it and start working and making some commissions. And only until one day when these things happen to you, you get actually really, really shocked. And so to share with you a story, one of our LD4s in the company, her name is Sherry Zhao, and I sponsored her. She's actually was studied in Toronto. Eventually, she's now living in LA with her husband and her child, and she's lifestyle director for. I sponsored her, but in our last company, so before this company, 13 years ago, before that was our last company. It was a travel company called Pro Travel Network, and what happened was she sponsored me in that company. She was my sponsor. But what happened was, in that company, based upon the total amount of signups of people buying these travel packages essentially, I would get a certain commission, let's say $20 per person, but she would receive like $100 per person on the same people that are signing up, right? So she was happy because she was above me in rank, okay? But what happened was I got working really hard, and eventually I actually matched her rank, and eventually I even surpassed her rank. When that happened, she basically quit. She basically quit because she knew that all the stuff that I would do would never benefit her. So it's the opposite in opulence. In here, like if you sponsored two people that were lifestyle director fours and they built a ginormous business, you would get paid religiously week in, week out, week in, week out, because if you're in our system, if the person below you passes your rank, it has no impact on your commissions. So, but anyways, this is basically the third type of compensation plan called the Stair-Step Breakaway, okay? And then the last type that you can have is what's called binary. Now, I need to really emphasize here that there's more than one, even within binaries, there's different flavors of binaries, right? There's even what's called hybrids out there. And a hybrid could be like, for certain commissions, they might use a unilevel. For other bonuses, they might use, a binary. They can mix things around, right? But binary is the last one. And what really makes opulence unique is we're the only, within the binary, typically binaries are the only ones that pay to infinity. The initial binaries, like in Market America and USANA and some of the older companies, was what's called a 50-50, which means that your lakes must be exactly like the same volume to get cashed out. But the newer binaries, companies knew that it's impossible to always have balanced legs. Like you'll never have a perfectly balanced legs in binary. So oftentimes you have one leg bigger, one leg smaller. That's just normal, right? So the newer binary said, okay, well, no, we're going to let you guys have, instead of 50-50, that's really rigid. So for example, let's say in opulence, right? If you write this down, our first cycle is 900 CV, right? 900 CV. So if you write this down on a piece of paper, 900 CV, then if you were in a 50-50 binary, your volume would have to be exactly 450 on the left team and 450 on the right team, right? That'd be 50, 50. But let's say you didn't have that. Let's say you had 300, 600. So you still have 900, but it's not balanced 450, 450. You have 300, 600. Well, in the older binaries, you wouldn't get paid still. It's really annoying. So the new company said, well, no, if you have a 1/3, 2/3, like 300, 600, we're still going to pay you your commission. So in opulence, we pay you on all those combinations of 1/3, 2/3, 50, 50, or 2/3, 1/3. Okay. But in a lot of the other binaries, this is what you be really careful on, is some binaries actually only pay you on one leg. Very important now, okay? If you have a piece of paper, okay, and pencil, to explain this, I want you to actually write this down, all right? Let's say, so draw a circle at the top and put you, okay? So like that's like you, all right? That's you there. And on your left team, I want you to put, let's say, let's do the math here. So it's actually, so put 18,000 on the left, and then put 36,000 on the right for volume. So you have 18,000 on the left and 36,000 on the right. Okay. So some binaries will say, okay, we're going to pay you 10% on the smaller leg. And a lot of binaries do this. Only pay you 10% on the smaller leg. So what is 10% on the smaller leg? The smaller leg was the 18,000, right? That's the smaller leg, the left leg. So what is 10% on 18,000? That's your commission. Your commission would be how much then? Can someone type in the answer for me? If you got paid 10% commission on 18,000 volume or CV. Can you see if you have any people who want to make sure I actually get some questions to make sure you're actually paying attention? Yeah, so that's right. Someone said, yeah, that's right. Helen and Opulence Host 2, your payout is 1,800. That's correct, right? So because they only pay you on the smaller leg, right? But in Opulence Global, why we're different is because we pay you not just on one leg, but we can even pay you the 2/3 on the bigger leg. So in Opulence Global, what we do is you add the 18,000 and you add the 2/3, which is the 36,000, right? If you add 18,000 plus 36,000, that total is 54,000, right? And we pay you 8.5%. So see, it's funny. We pay you 8.5%, and you might think that's a smaller amount, but the key is we pay you 8.5% on the 1/3, and we pay you 8.5% on the 2/3. So in other words, we add 18,000 plus the 2/3 of 36,000, put it together for 54,000, then we pay you 8.5%. And what's that payout, guys? What's 8%? So what's 8.5% of 54,000? Can we see someone type the answer in? What's your payout? You have 18,000 and 36,000. So not 1,800 and 3,600. We have 18,000 and 36,000, which is 54,000. That's right. So your payout is 4,600. So isn't it funny, right? The company that offered you to pay you 10% on the smaller leg, if you just looked at percentages, you would think 10% is higher than 8.5%, right? But they only paid you the 10% on the smaller leg. We're paying you 8.5%, a smaller percentage, but on both your legs, on the 1/3 and the 2/3. So the difference here is 1,800 versus 4,600. That's a huge difference. It's almost $3,000 difference because we pay you on the 2/3, right? So one question that came in from Irene is, does it have to be 1/3 and 2/3? So our exact combinations can be 1/3, 2/3, 2/3, 1/3, or 450, 450. So if you look at on the compensation plan PDF, like for example, if you look at the 5,400 CV payout level, to make up the 5,400, you could have 1,800 on one side and 3,600 on the other side. So 1/3, 2/3. You could have 3,600 on one side and 1,800 on the other side. So 2/3, 1/3 instead of 1/3, 2/3. Or you could have 2,700, 2,700, which is a 50-50. So these are your combinations for 5,400, right? So not only, so we're actually one of the only binaries, actually we're the only binary that can pay you 8.5% on both legs and give you combinations of 2/3, 1/3, 1/3, 2/3, or 50-50. Yeah. And Helen's typing in. I'm just going to finish it off for her as well too. So those are your 3 combinations you can have. All right. So I really want to highlight that because let me ask you guys a question, right? What's more, in our example we just gave you, is getting paid 20% on the smaller, okay, if I said we're going to pay 20% on the smaller leg, would you take that? Or would you take 8.5% on both of your 1/3 and 2/3 legs? So the question is, if I offered you 20% on a smaller leg, would you take it? Is that better or worse than getting 8.5% on your 1/3 and your 2/3? Yeah, it's still worse. Yeah, you want to get, right? Because 20% of 18,000 is only 3,600, right? So it's still less than getting 8.5%, which gave you 4,600. So this is where, you know, I've seen people, and I've done meetings with so many people now and talk about comp plans. And they will tell me, well, Rene, you know, they seem to have some kind of knowledge. They'll say, Rene, you know, what's your commission payout in your company, in your binary commissions? And they would say, well, because ours is 20%. What's yours, Rene? I said, well, mine's 8.5%, but on both the legs. And they think, well, both the legs, 8.5%, if you add it together, that's only 17%. But it's not, because it's 8.5% on the 1/3 and 8.5% on the 2/3. So if you think about it, it's actually 8.5 times 3, because you get 8.5 on the 1/3, and it's not giving you 8.5 on the other 1/3. It's giving you 8.5% on the 2/3. So really, you know, so to make it simple, because I know what the people are asking, if they were to ask me, Rene, you know, our company pays out 20% on commissions, I would say, well, our pays out, 25.5, 8.5 times 3, basically. Yeah. But again, you know, to get 20%, you have to be like a high up leader, and most companies don't even offer that. But I just wanted to give you more education because these things do come up. All right. So I think we talked enough about binary, and that was again one thing that I wanted to talk about. So so again, going back to the beginning, it's easier to build 2 legs, right? If you see a plan that says build 3, game over. It's not even worth looking at it. You got to find a plan that pays to infinity, because again, why would you want to get paid down to 10 levels if you can get paid down to 1 million to infinite levels, right? So I've seen some plans, what they do is they say, okay, on the first 8, like your matrix, the first 8 levels, that's where you get paid to. And only if you reach a certain rank can you get paid to infinity. That to me is bad, because in opulence, we give you pay to infinity without you doing anything. You automatically get infinity. You don't have to do something to get infinity. You already get infinity. And that's the key thing. Because, you know, don't forget, guys, we're in this business for the long term, right? We're not here. It's not a get rich quick. You can't make money quickly. But we're building this business because one day we hope to be able to stay at home every day, or travel the world, not worry about finances, and not worrying about getting paid in our business. So if you're not getting paid to infinity, you're always going to be worrying because you're getting cut off somewhere. In our company, you pay to infinity. That's a key thing. And as long as you don't quit in this business and you keep on sharing these products, it's going to keep on paying you for the rest of your life. So imagine, guys, think 20 years from now. I want you to really think long term. Think you're in this business consistently promoting for the next 20 years, right? Most people work their whole life for 65 years. Let's say you only work for 20 years, right? So imagine what's going to happen to your business, getting paid to like infinity forever, right? Now, one question that I want to answer from Irene, again, great question there, Irene, was what if it's like 1/4? Okay, so what happens here? You're right. Another key topic we're going to talk about today, but we'll cover it now because we're sort of flying as it comes along, is flushing or carrying over. So, um, so let me just stop my screen. I want to make sure you guys understand the actual combination. So I'm trying to open another document here. Okay, so I make sure everyone is on the same page and understands this fully. So I just want to show this to you guys in case you haven't seen it before. Again, it's in your prosperity book, which you should read every page of that book. But here we have it. Here's actually going to make it a bit bigger here. So here's what we're talking about. These are the exact combinations you got to have. So it's not, so yeah, no, so we don't have a 1/4, 3/4 payout. It must be a 1/3, 2/3. So yeah, if it's 900, then the 1/3, 2/3 is going to be 300, 600, or 450, 450, or 600, 300. If it's 1800, it's going to be these combinations. Again, 1/3, 2/3, 50, 50, or 2/3, 1/3. Same thing for level 3 and level 4. Okay. Now you can see here to answer your question, Irene, you see this? No cycle overage. Unused CV carries over to the next week. This is really important now because I've seen some companies, like again, we're just gonna talk real life examples, right? We're not here to, talk down with other companies. We're just giving real life examples. But my first company in direct sales was USANA, and USANA and Market America were very similar. But so the way that there works, let's say you had 5,000 CV. So on a piece of paper, let's write this down. You had 5,000 CV in another company. What they do is, with those two combinations adding together, they basically pay you, let's say, like 1,500. Okay. What happens though is that's the most you can make per business center. So write this down now. Left side 5,000. Right side you had 5 million. Okay. So left side 5,000, right side you had 5 million. Let's say because maybe you had 5 million because you did nothing for 20, 30 years, and all that volume on the right side became 5 million. You had nothing on the left side. You suddenly woke up, you got to work, and this week now you have 5,000 on your left side, but you have the 5 million on the right side. What happens in these companies is they still pay you the same $1,500, but guess what happens to the 5 million? So 5 million less the 5,000 it used to pay you. The 4,995,000 that's remaining, can you guess what happens to that volume in other companies? Can anyone guess what happens? You type your answer in the chat box. Flushed. Yeah, it's gone. It flushes out. It is the most insane, unfair, I guess, retarded thing that can ever happen, because all that volume belonged to you. It was in your organization. And when you hit the max payout, so in USANA and Market America, the most you can earn in team commissions from your team, they have one for like online sales and they have one for like non-online sales. but why not just combine it? It's easier, right? That's what we do. But they have a max, you can only earn 1,500 per week, and the rest gets flushed out. So in Opulence Global, though, it never happens. It never happens. Whatever we don't use to pay you your commission, guess what? The remaining actually stays there till the next week. And now another key, so sort of to get more advanced on you guys, I hope you guys are following along with me here. If you're not, you don't have to understand everything, just know that we've looked at everything, right? Another really crazy thing that some companies do is, let's say that in our company, right now, let's say your maximum weekly commissions is like $1,000, right? And let's say you actually made 2,000. So you had enough volume to make 2,000, but because you're LD1, for example, or you're a lifestyle advisor, you made 1,000 this week, right? In any other company, the extra 1,000 you should have made, they would have just flushed it. Only in our company, we have what's called no cycle overage. What that means is if you made 2,000, you had enough to make 2,000, but your rank only made you 1,000 this week, the remaining 1,000 will wait for you till next week, and next week you guarantee get that $1,000. Like these are the small things that you don't really, the average person will not know to look for, because they haven't been in this industry for a long time and they don't know what to look for. But it's so important, that you actually understand this stuff, that we don't have these issues in Opulence Global. Okay, so now I want to sort of now move on to another key topic that was really, really important that we talked about last week. And that is what we call earning per distributor, okay? So again, we already talked about ranks before and how someone matches your rank, it's not a good thing, right? The next thing that we talked about flushing in and blocking volume. How many like to build? Go to my PowerPoint here. So the next thing, if you can write this down, please, guys, is your company payout and earning per distributor. Okay, we're going to cover that next. Okay, so let's start with company payout. Every company will try to advertise for you what is their company payout. I know that Hanmei or Helen had actually found a website that was actually talking and had a unaudited result of what companies actually paid out. And most of them are like 30%, 34%, which means of the money that the company brings in, let's say this week, that 30% of that gets paid out to distributors. That's not really a high number, just FYI. So in our company, write this down, we pay out essentially 75%. So of the 75%, 65% is paid out in the binary. Okay, so let's say, for example, this week, our company, again, this is hypothetical, this is not a real number, I'm just using this because it's easier to explain to you. Let's say the company had $1 million of product sales this week. That's their revenue. Well, 65% of that is how much then? It's $650,000. And that amount is what is used to pay out commissions in the binary system. So anyone in the company binary system that got their 1/3, 2/3 going, they get paid out from this 65% or the $650,000. All right. And then 10% comes from bonuses. So bonuses include things like the wholesale profit, includes things like the car bonus, the monthly global revenue sharing, and all the other bonuses. That's about 10%. Okay. So what's really important, just to let you know, is that most other companies aren't even at 30, 40%. And it's not hard to understand why if you look at what we learned today. Because in other companies where you can only earn 1,500 per week, in our company, you can make up to 20,000 per week. In other companies where they flush your volume, we never flush here. So there's so many things that other companies do that they might even advertise they pay out 65, 75%, but in reality, because there's all these restrictions and blockages in the comp plan, like breakaways or ranking issues that you can just foretell that it will never pay out the full 75%. In our company, because we have no blockage, no carryover, no flushing of volume, no issues with rank, it pretty much pays out close to that every single week, week in, week out. So that's one aspect, which is called company payout. But, and the question you have to also understand when it comes to company payout is you want to ask them, so in your company payout, write this down, commissions versus bonuses. Commissions versus bonuses. Would you guys prefer, 65% in bonuses and 10% in residual commissions? Or would you prefer 10% in bonuses and 65% in residual commissions? So tell me your answer, right? Between bonuses and commissions, which one is more important? Between bonuses, they're both important, but which one is the main focus of why we're building this business? Excuse me. Wonderful. Everyone's getting the right answer, right? 65% commissions, 10% bonuses. Yes, because imagine if your income was based mostly on bonuses. Then let's say you made 20,000 this month, but majority of it was bonuses. And next month you didn't qualify for bonuses, and your income from 20,000 dropped down to like 1,000. In fact, I know people, it's shocking. And again, because an older company that I used to know a lot of different people in called ACN. And I know ACN because one of the leaders in ACN left ACN to open up PTN, which was a travel company that was my company before Opulence. So their plan was almost identical, right? But I met some leaders back in ACN who told me that this month they were making like 12,000, but then the following month when we got together for coffee, they were down to like 1,800. I'm like, what happened? And of course, that's when I was learning about compensation plans. I learned that their residual income, so it's flipped. They have most of their money in bonuses. But can you guys think of why do some companies purposely put so much emphasis on the bonuses? Like, why do you think a company would do that? And there's kind of two main reasons why. A company would put more emphasis on bonuses and less in residual commissions. And there's two main things that are the main answers. So why would a company design a plan to pay you more in bonuses and very little in residual? So I want to wait here, drink some water, and see what people think as to why a company would want to pay you more in bonuses and very little in commissions. All right, not sure people might know the answer to this one. I think we're on the right track here. Han Mei says bonus is time by time, which means always remember this and write this down. Yes. Okay, you're gonna write the answer right now, okay? Is that bonuses are good for the company because it's a one-time thing. You have to qualify every time. You must do work every time to get the bonus. Companies don't usually like residual income. Why is that? Because residual income, you get paid every single week, week in, week out, without doing anything. So a lot of people do actually pay a lot of money in the actual bonuses because they know that you might not get it the following month. So it makes the company rich. All right. So bonuses are designed to really make the company rich because they're not committed to paying you forever. The second reason why why companies choose to have a high bonus is because they want people talking about how much money they made because they think that the hype sells. It's a sad thing, but it works, right? Someone just joined the first month, made $1,000. They tell their friends and family, and now and it's like a hype thing, right? So some companies really use it to sort of build the initial momentum in the company. But at the end of the day, what happens is a lot of people aren't making a solid residual income, and they run out of people to talk to, and so then the income goes from, like, again, 20,000 down to very little. Okay, so and Hamay said it right. It makes a company look better than they actually really are. All right, so I'm not sure who Jay Gold is, but again, I can actually show you we can get together and I can show you the actual ACN comp plan in their 3x8 matrix. You will see that on the first level it's like 1%, and then second tier 1%, and then it's like 1, 1, 2, 4, 8%. So if you added that up all together, like in their matrix, like it's actually very little of what you can actually earn. So, but anyhow, I mean, we can definitely look at that. If you want to see that, I don't know who Jay Gold is though, but why don't you message me afterwards? We can actually take a very detailed look into that plan. But in any case, if you look at majority, the fact that they have, again, if you say it's changed, I can look at it later on. But the fact that you're not getting this 8% on every level, and if it's still tiered, right, then instantly you're getting a lot less in residuals. And if you don't get paid to infinity, you automatically know that most of that money is probably being put aside into their CAB bonuses, right, which is like a sponsor bonus, right? So anyways, you can do your calculations there. So going back to what we're talking about though, is when it comes to, again, the commission payout, the whole point is you want majority of it in your residuals, and you want very little of it in bonuses. So in opulence, it's pretty well balanced. Like we have great bonuses, and typically you'll see in any kind of comp plan, like the sign-up bonuses or the wholesale profits, like when you enroll someone, typically it's about 10% of the package price. So if it costs $1,000 to join, on average, the wholesale profit is between 10 and 20%. So if the package is like $1,000, you're getting about $100 to $200, for a wholesale profit, and that's pretty standard across all companies. So in Opulence Global, when you come in at $1,500 for the LA package, right, someone is earning $250, which is, again, way more than 10%. It's getting close to that 20% mark too. So, but again, my point though is opulence, of course, we have great wholesale profits, but more importantly, we have the highest paying residual income. So that leads us to the second conversation, which is really what's important. And this is where this is what sort of is the make it or break it. It'll tell you everything. Is how do you calculate the earning per distributor? So write down, folks. Earning per distributor is the final piece that we're going to focus on today, because I could talk about this kind of stuff and go really in depth, but this will be a long one anyways. Earning per distributor. What that means is how much are you earning on average in residual income per person in your team. So for example, in Opulence, what I did in comparing different companies is if I had 100 people, write this down, 100 people who are paying, for example, $150 per month, which is what is our monthly commitment, how much would you earn in residual income per person? Versus in another company, if I had the same 100 people paying the exact same, for example, 150 per month, right? How much would I be earning on a monthly basis? And what you will find if you do the calculation is the average earning per person, and average meaning of all the direct sales companies, from travel to telecom to financial services to health and wellness to different things. Each person in your team, on average, based upon what they buy monthly, we're not talking about bonuses right now, right? It's what they buy in like their auto ship or the monthly purchases, is about $1 per person if you're really lucky. And that's on average, right? Usually telecom, travel is less than $1 a person. When it comes to natural health products, it might be $2 or $3. But in Opulence Global, you can write this down, one person pays you almost $8 a person. So we actually pay out about 800% more than other companies in terms of this earning per distributor. Because for me, again, like, my goal was I want to earn, let's say, 5,000 per month. If it takes me 5,000 people, that's a lot of people. But if I can make 5,000 per month based upon having 500 people or 600 people, that's doable. That's way easier, right? And so I'm going to teach you guys how to actually calculate this. All right. So have your pens and pencils ready here. So write down 150. That is, let's say, our monthly contribution, right? Now, if we bought Fountain of Life using our monthly 150, okay, then as we know, we get 60% volume on the 150. So 60% CV on the 150 is 90 CV. So $150 per month, right? Times, what is it? Times $60, times 60% means that your CV from that person is 90 CV. So to get to, so if you times by 60 people, so 90 CV times 60 people, how much CV is that? So 90 CV per person times 60 persons, then 90 times 60 is 5,400 CV, right? And again, 5,400 CV, as we just know, how much does that pay you? It's our power cycle check. You get paid $460, right? So in other words, 60 people pays us $460. So how much does one person pay you? Well, you divide by 60, right? So 460 divided by 60 is like 7.666. Do the math here. 460 divided by 60. Yeah, it's 7.67. So almost 8, right? So that's why we say, yeah, so 460 divided by 60 is approximately $8 a person. Again, we're not even counting the fact that in Opulence Global, you get CV on a package. Like, not only do you get a wholesale profit of $250, but you also get 500 CV. So really, it's, if you want to be fair, it's actually way more than $8 a person. But we're just going to say, for argument's sake, only looking at the monthlies, it's $8 a person, right? And so I was sharing a story on the Chinese call of 2016. I went to an event by Eric Worre. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he used to be still is, quite a name in the multi-level marketing, network marketing arena for training on self-development and promoting different events. And anyway, he had an event called the 6-Figure and the 7-Figure Summit, where if you were earning, $100,000 to $1 million or more, you got invited to a very special meeting, all of North America, actually even worldwide. People from like Europe were flying in, from Australia, and he was gathering all the world's sort of top people. And if you were making $1 million or more, you actually got invited for free. So I was actually invited for free to attend this. I'm gonna show you guys something. And we all got these tags while we are there. So he called it the six-figure summit in 2014 actually. And if you were a seven-figure earner, meaning you make over $1 million a year, you would have this tag that says seven-figure earner, right? Anyways, it's a very interesting event. And, they were just trying to. It's like a mind mastery. Trying to gather all of the best minds and the best earners in the world, and trying to just to really further our industry. And but they started off kind of funny. They started off by asking everyone to stand up, and they said, if you're not earning more than 100,000 a year, please sit down. But that was a trick because you had to be making over 100,000 a year to be there. So if you sat down, then you got kicked out basically. And then they went higher and higher. So if you're not making $200,000 a year, sit down. And a lot of people at that point in time had already sat down. Went to 300,000, 400,000, $500,000. When he got to, if you make, if you don't make over $1 million a year, please sit down. And there was about me and I say about 7 or 8 other individuals left. Standing. And I actually sort of quickly took note of who they were and where they were sitting, because we all kind of shared a few words. But then what I did was I actually went to go find these other seven-figure earners. And I basically asked them one main question. And that main question that I asked them was basically, how big is your team? Because all these people who are making over $1 million a year, right? To make $1 million a year, it means on a monthly basis, you must be earning, close to 90,000 a month, right? Because $1 million divided by 12 months, you gotta be making close to 88 to 90,000 a month over 12 months to make your $1 million. So I asked all these people, I said, well, so, which company are you in? And can I ask you, how big is your team now? And I also asked them, how long have they been in the business for? And most of these people have been in their businesses for I'd say minimum 8 years. Most of them were 10, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15 years in the business. And every single one of them said that their team size was about 100,000. Some said 130,000. One person I remember saying about 230,000. I remember one gentleman, the most, he had over 500,000 people in his team, 500,000 people in his printout. And so that's what I was trying to prove my point here. Because if I write this down, right, to make 90,000 a month, all these people had at least 100,000 people or more to make that 90,000 a month. So the ratio, so I was trying to test the ratio, right? How many people do you have to make X amount of dollars per month? So, if they have 100,000 people to make approximately 90,000, the ratio is about 1-to-1. And so when they finally asked me, well, yes, well, which company are you in? And, how long have you been in your company and how big is your team? I said, well, when I first hit my first six-figure monthly income, I told them my team was about 7,000 people. Because again, in other companies, to make 100,000 a month, you've got to have an army of distributors, like almost 100,000 people. But because in our company, our ED ratio is 1-to-8, I didn't factor in all the CV that you get when it comes to, for example, the LA package is launching. I didn't include the fact that, most people actually do buy more than 150 per month. But just based upon that, you already can tell to make 100,000 a month, you don't need to have 100,000 people. You just divide by 8. And that's how many people you have to have on the monthly 150. So, that's a really key thing that was a big, it's sort of like a fulfillment for me just to find out if that stat was actually accurate. And it's not hard to tell. Like nowadays, now that you know all this stuff here, you can pretty much look at any company's compensation plan and you can ask them, the key question to find out is their main product that you will buy on a monthly basis. How much CV or points do you get from that? And then you just do the same math that we did today. And so, so what I've done, just to share with you guys, because as you can imagine, I think, because I studied computer science at U of T and software engineering. And I guess because, I worked for, large companies like IBM and TELUS, and I've always been doing math pretty much my whole life, in studying, math theory in university. A lot of my team like to ask me if I could compare, this company to that company. And I'm gonna show you guys, I have a lot more than this, but I just want to share with you what I used to do. I haven't done it for a while. I guess we don't really have these kind of, I guess people just understand from what they hear how good our plan is. But here's a list of companies that I've actually looked at and actually did the comparison on these numbers, And to this date, I have not found one company that has paid out. If you were to click into, for example, each one, it would go down into an actual full breakdown of all these things. And I did like diagrams and charts, and I actually explained my comparison, right? And I even showed the cycles. And so this is all the stuff that I did before. Well, I had not, again, and if you're wondering, well, how come of all these companies that none of them can actually pay out more than Opulence Global, it really comes down to a few things. One of them being that it's ownership, right? How much money do they want to keep? How much they want to give away? So sometimes in large corporations, the founders, the owners, the shareholders, they want to keep more money for themselves, right? That's one aspect. The other issue though is it depends on your product. Do you actually have a good profit margin or not? So in some companies that sell, for example, multivitamins, there's so many moving ingredients and parts and processes that they don't really have good profit margins on their product. With our kind of products, typically we have, because we have, I guess, a really good setup. Our owner of the company owns the manufacturers for the fashion. He's a good negotiator when we fought for Fountain of Life, for example, and we have a global exclusive rights. So we have great margins on those products. So we just naturally can pay out more because we have more margins on the products, right? And so, one last example that I gave on the Chinese call that I'll give to you, and I hope that it's not going to get too advanced. But so if I lose you here, don't worry about it. It's not, it's just more for those of you who enjoy this kind of stuff. Because I think what's really important for you guys to know is that we have done, like the leaders especially, so much crazy calculations in this stuff here that you can just have that confidence knowing you've picked the right company. But anyways, write this down. So I want to compare our company to another example, but you'll see I'm not trying to bash on the company. I just wanted you guys to see how I run my calculations, because just now the one person paying you $8, if you think about it, we're comparing CV to dollars, right? We looked at how much CV you got, but we actually have to compare dollars to dollars to be super accurate. So for example, in Jeunesse, write this down, 900 CV, okay, 900 CV, your paycheck was $35. So 900 plus 35, okay? So let's times by 6. If you times by 6, which is 5,400 CV, how much would Jeunesse pay you? So if you had 6 times the cycles of 900, how much would Jeunesse pay you? 35 times 6, it pays you $210, right? So you should have 5,400 CV would pay me $210. So let's go and calculate what's that percentage. So 210 divided by 5,400, that percentage so far looks like 3.89, right? 3.89 is what it actually looks like. Now write down in Opulence Global the same 5,400 CV would pay you $460, right? And as we know, $4,600, that percentage is 8.5%. So right now we're thinking, okay, it's 3.89, 8.5. Yeah, so I mean we pay literally more than double for the exact same amount of volume. Keyword is volume. The same volume, we're paying you more than double, right? So we have 3.89% versus 8.5%. But that's not really accurate either, not fully accurate, because we have to find the right percentage, we have to know how much was paid in the company to generate 5,400 CV. And again, we know in Opulence Global, right, that if you're buying Fountain of Life, that 60% of what someone buys in Fountain of Life becomes the volume. So in other words, if I took 5,400 and divided it by 0.6, you really have $9,000 being spent. So we're going to compare dollars to dollars now. So to generate 5,400 CV, we had to have someone buy $9,000 worth of Fountain of Life to generate 5,400 CV. That pays us $460. So the real dollar to dollar is $9,000 pays us $460. So now we're talking about dollars to dollars, right? So 460 divided by 9,000, the actual dollar payout is 5.11%. I hope I didn't lose anyone so far because before the 8.5% we're talking about was converting the volume that was in your team, the CV, into cash dollars in your e-wallet. What I'm saying is we want to look at how much dollars was spent on products to generate that CV. So to get 5,400 CV, thank you, Han Mei, it was $9,000, right? Let's compare this now back to Jeunesse. So Jeunesse, to get 5,400 CV, right? It's actually, we have leaders here who have been in the company, it's actually more than $10,000. I think the calculation that they ran was in Jeunesse to generate the 5,400 CV. Helen and Henry, I know you guys had the exact number or the rough number. What was the dollar amount that had to be?
I think I make it correct. Is like because that 210 is by US dollars, so we have to calculate by US dollar. US dollar in Jeunesse 9,000 is almost the same, $9,000 US dollar. That 210, yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
same,
well,
the
yeah, well,
same.
yeah. Okay. So the funny thing is, the currencies don't actually usually matter in the sense that, you know, if the people are paying in US for the products and you're
Yeah,
getting
because
paid in
that
US dollars.
10, that 210 is in US dollars. So we calculate the dollar
Okay.
9,000. Yeah, that's a $90 of the major product. That's 100 per box. That's 9,000 also.
US?
Yeah. So
Okay.
the calculation should be 210 divided by 9,000. There, the same
Okay.
dollar. Yeah,
Fair
okay.
enough. Okay. So just note that, okay, thank you, Hemi. So in some other companies, what I found is that the 5,400 wasn't even actually 9,000. It was more like sometimes it was like 13,000 or 12,000 because it took more dollars being spent to generate that CV. But this is for argument's sake, we kept that same 9,000. Then the actual payout in Jeunesse is actually like dollar to dollar is like 2.33%, right? So, so my point is, we don't need to look at necessarily the currencies, because again, when you pay, if people in the in downline are buying in US currency and you're getting paid in US currencies, the percentages are the same. It's the same as if they're buying in Canadian dollars and you're getting paid in Canadian dollars, that percentage will actually be the same. But it's different if you're converting from, like, if they're buying in US and you're getting paid in Canadian, that's obviously a different calculation. So, so what I really looked at is in other companies, I would ask, certain people, what's the average person that pays for their product or their service? So for example, in ACN, it might be, the electricity, the hydro, or the cell phone, whatever it might be. In a travel company, it might be, your monthly travel credits. In other companies, it could be like your monthly vitamins, or your monthly juice, your monthly coffee, your monthly chocolate. So I looked at, again, what was the average monthly payout. And I actually, because again, in some companies, their one CV, like again, we're at 60%, right? So what they buy in FOL, 60% is your CV. In other companies, it's only like 30%. So they might pay 150. Also, you might be getting, the same CV, but they're paying a lot more money. So the real accurate way of doing this is to compare dollars to dollars, right? So anyways, that's when I really realized, my goodness, like, no one else in this industry pays out more than Opulence Global. And yeah, so I mean, this is a really fun thing that you can, well, I don't think you might want to call it fun, but I kind of enjoy looking at these things. And that's what I've looked at now over the last 20 something odd years. And just to share some, I guess, some sort of funny stories to close, I'd often meet people, I still meet a few nowadays, that, I guess, not so much since COVID, because I felt that most companies during COVID actually fell apart, because, with lockdown, you can't travel, for example. So most travel MLMs have gone off the radar completely. And then some other companies that were charging too much for their products, like in Asia, there's one pretty big company that was selling a deer placenta, but they're charging like $400 a month for their product roughly. And I don't hear much from them anymore because people can't afford it during these COVID times. And so that's why, again, this component is so important. But the fact that we have a product that, again, for 150, I remember in USANA, my monthly auto ship was almost like $180. And that only gave me exactly 4 weeks or 28 days worth of product for myself. And then if I wanted to buy, USANA products, the health pack for my mom and my dad and, my girlfriend, that was 4 times $180 per month. That's crazy, right? And I was still just working. I started working. But in Opulence Global, like, the same 180 that was buying me one person's product in that company, in Opulence Global, that's almost like 3-4 bottles of FOL, which could last 3-4 people. So it could basically pay for 3-4 people instead of one person. So what I've been seeing happening in my team, like globally, is a lot of people are actually hopping on board because, of course, FOL works, like, it's a wondrous product, but it's also just really affordable, which also means that people can actually earn money selling the product. And I think one of the other biggest issues that we didn't really talk much about today, but it's really, really important when you want to look at, is it easy to build up a team and to build up a big team or a big customer base? Is the product affordable and can people sell it? Because not everyone will be always so great when it comes to, building a huge team. And some people might not even want to do that. But the fact that we have a product that is so retailable, that it means people can make a part-time income selling products. And that's what direct sales was supposed to be, was you sell directly on behalf of the company, right? You buy wholesale, you sell retail. And so that has caused a huge amount of, success in our partners retention ratio as well too. But I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover for today. There's a lot more other sort of more deeper advanced topics, but I did want to leave some time for some question and answers. It's already past the 1 hour mark. And just wanted to say again, thank you for all of you guys for being on the call today. And I do hope that you have learned something. Oh, and yeah, so it's funny. So Emoji just had a question or a comment. She was asking if I could share about why some companies say they don't have auto ship. And it's really a marketing gimmick. I'll tell you why. So because auto ship was initially a good thing conceptually wise, because hey, it's an automatic shipment of your product, so I don't have to keep ordering every month. It comes in automatically. Of course, it became a negative in some cases, like the black sheep of the industry, because a lot of people, because their products were too expensive, or their monthly the compensation plans commitment was really expensive. Most people on their auto ship was spending like $200 a month, $400 a month. Even I've seen some people pay like 2,000 a month for their monthly auto ship. So what companies tried to do then was, because that was a big black sheep and a negative sort of image that was happening in the industry, a lot of companies tried to start selling you on this theory. Oh, well, we have no auto ship, right? No auto ship. Um, anyone can say that, but if you want to keep earning your residual income, like we in our company, you can actually qualify for your monthly payment if you actually sell enough product. So either you buy 150 yourself, or you sell enough that you surpass the 150 PV requirement. So yeah, you don't have to have an auto ship here. But the reality about auto ship or no auto ship, what's important in our industry is we have sales happening every single month, that people are buying the products. And so really, auto ship should not be a problem if your products aren't super expensive, right? I don't have people complaining about, how they can't afford their auto ship or their smart buy, because, hey, you're getting 3-4 bottles of Fountain of Life, or 2 bottles plus a spray plus a tooth, you know what I mean? So, so really the auto ships became, some companies try to market, oh, we don't have an auto ship, because they wanted to try to appeal to people, so that their distributors would have a chance to actually have a meeting with someone, because they could say, because what happened was a lot of people just was by default would ask you, well, do you have an auto ship? If you said yes, they don't even want to hear from you. But that was, again, some companies a while back ago. But again, we have a remarkable program in Opulence where the Smart Buy, we're the only company that I know of still that says, hey, you don't have to buy FOL 3-4 bottles and pay shipping every single month to qualify for your commissions. We say, and pay shipping every month on that shipment. It's remarkable. You can bank 150, 150, 150 for 3 months. That becomes 450 after 3 months. Then order a family pack of Fountain of Life, which is 12 bottles. You get one free, and you pay one shipping in 3 months. So that's way better for some people than buying 3-4 bottles and paying the same shipping every single month, right? So, Opulence is really a company that is so ahead of the game, ahead of the curve. And we're blessed because our owners in Opulence Global, they come from the distributor background. So they understand the challenges that we might go through. And that's why I love about having the special advisory board to the CEO, because he has certain people that will advise him on what we're hearing from the field, the challenges or the solutions or some suggestions, and they're listening to our feedback. And that's why, we're going to be a company that literally will be around for for literally forever. And thank you, Jaime, again. And what's really cool about our auto ship, if you want to call it that, we call it Smart Buy, because it can be product or shopping credits. And auto ship means it's an actual shipment of an actual product. So we have a Smart Buy. But yeah, you do get an extra 10% discount by being on Smart Buy. So we even encourage your partners and customers to be on the Smart Buy, because the company gives them an extra discount as well too. So again, I'm getting a bit of a dry throat here talking so much. So again, thank you so much for, Henry, for arranging this special call. Again, thank you for all of you guys, for being on the call. I see so many of you guys, Amy, Anita, Ann, Donna, Jusilla, Elaine, I don't know who these guys people are. Haley from Singapore. I see Amarjeet here, John Claude, Jago, thank you for your feedback too. Lucy, Peggy, Rita, Timothy, So Young Steve, I made the jam pack call. Yong Chi, Punk. Thanks for being here, guys, and thanks for having me. Henry, back to you.
All right, what a great training we had. We didn't even expect such a complete comparison, so it's really good. We have Laura joined us as well from I think from Niagara, right? Thank you for joining us. And well, we might still have a little bit of time for somebody who wants to share something, or I know most of us must be very excited. If you have anything to share or just to say thank you, you are welcome to say so or share.
Henry, I cannot open the camera.
Okay, I'm just opening now. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I have a point here. Really something I personally experienced back a year ago before I joined Opulence Global. I was doing gymnastics for several months. I feel that it's a tough business to go. Initially, I just try to get my health return for myself, my parents, and my family. The diamonds people in the company told me that if you want to make money, you have to invest first, at least for 3 years. So I calculate by myself, if I just for health return, not even mention about making money, for my parents and myself, 5 persons, I have to spend approximately about $5,000 a year at least to get health return before I can make any money. So consistently, I have to invest that for 3 years at least, minimum. The diamond told me you have to investment first. That cost me about $20,000 US dollars before I can make money. So when I first get introduced the Fountain of Life by Han Mei and Henry, I did my calculation. My health return is something like 1/3 or 1/4 of that spend to get my health return, keep myself, keep my parents in a healthy condition. I only to spend such less money comparatively to gymnasts, and even more I can make money to build a little team, just like Rene showed us just now. That's my personal experience, and with a small team I can make like 2,000 Canadian dollar a month at this time. So this is my personal experience. For those numbers from last week's Mandarin training, Rene told us, I think some of the third-party investigation companies, they provide a number like how many percentages return. That's based on calculation, their investigation, their estimation. It's just a reference. But indeed, just like Rene has showed us, you can hardly, even though they claim they can give you that high percentage of return, but you can hardly get it actually. So that Rene's calculation and this section gave me more clear picture that why Opulence Global is such a good company that gave us high return, faster return, because faster is important. The company, they show that they can give you higher or some amount of money. They told you can get it 3 years later. That means nothing to me, to everybody. So faster is important. And in the other way, the company gave us more choice, just like the 50-50, 1/3, 2/3, 2/3, 1/3 way of commission payout plan. That's demonstrating that Opulence Global is such a honest company. They give us a real, actual, faster, higher, and sincerable return to who do business with the company. Beside the return of health that we get from the product. That's my sharing and my understanding for others to have reference. Thank you.
Thank you, Pang.
Oh, thank you. And actually, I guess I love to look at this stuff, and yes, actually, you know, I don't know if that's a good time to do or not, but I actually, while Pang was sharing, think about share, I actually took a look at the ACN comp plan, and you know, if you guys want, I can explain to you. You know, again, I don't want to offend anybody. You know, I'm really not about that. But so, no, Jay Gold, if you do want me to go over this with you now over the Zoom with everyone else, I can. If you let me go over it with you one-on-one, more than happy to. So, you know, I just want to make sure I can, you know, double check that I'm not going to step on anyone's toes here by doing that. So yeah, so Jay Gold, let me know. I have the comp plan pulled up in front of me, but I can always do it now or next time. But you'll see how all the things we talked about today, if you were to look at any plans now that you know this stuff, you kind of know what to look for now. So so I'll just wait to see the response. But I do have their plan pulled up on my screen. But maybe we can get some other input from others for now.
Brief idea of what it is. Like,
okay, yeah. So again, we're just going over how a plan works, right? And you can of course decide if it's good or bad. So this is what I think they were talking about. And so again, you'll see in any company, if you go down through the pages, you always see a bunch of bonuses. And then the key part that we want to focus on is always this part, the residual commissions, right? So if you go down more, you know, there's going to be bonuses, and you know, more bonuses. So you know, so some companies have like 20 different bonuses, but what I always looked for was, again, the residual. So so what happens here is they say that on your personal commissions, which is what was being referred to on our chat, is you can see here, as you acquire your own personal customers, you can qualify to earn residual commission between 3% and 20% of their monthly commissionable revenue generated. And it's based upon your own personal points. So if you only, you know, if you have yourself 1 to 39 customer points, and that's based upon, I believe, on the services that you personally buy or maybe sell, but you get 3%. So it kind of looks like it's like a stair-step system here, where the more the personal customer points they have, you can get 20%. But the key thing about the 20% that they're saying here is you can't compare this 20% to our 8.5% because this is based upon your own personal customers. That's like saying in Opulence, when you sponsor someone, that's your own personal direct, right? So, so this is only referring to the people you personally introduce. So for example, in my team, I personally introduced about 170 people, but my whole organization is 25,000 people, right? So this kind of reminds me more of like if you have your own personal customers. So let's say I sold bottles to, you know, like the other day I sold another bottle to someone in my badminton club. We're playing badminton and she had some inflammation. And so again, what's our profit, guys, on our retail profits to our customers, right? If you are the retailer, your profit is 20%, right? Because your discount is 20%, so you make 20%. But if you're in LA, you make 30%, right? Because your discount is 30%. So if you wanted to sort of compare apples to apples, what we make in personal commissions to our personal customers right? We earn from 20% to 30%, but if you are the lifestyle advisor, you instantly get 30%. Okay, so that's one part. That's what they're referring to by personal commissions. So now the next part here they're talking about is on overriding residual commissions. And this is based upon commissions earned from the customers acquired in your organization. So this is kind of like the team, if you want to call it that. And they basically go down, by levels. So so these are your personals. So again, you can earn 3 to 20% on your personals, and they separate it from 2% for energy on large businesses. You get 8% on the identity theft, and again above. But here comes the team part, right? On your first level, your second level, on telecommunications and essential 4%. So really on this category, on the first to fifth level, so 5 levels deep, you get 4%. And then for the energy for large businesses, you get, 0.5%, 1/4%, 1/4%, none on fourth and fifth. And then again, so that's how they're breaking it down. And so what they try to do though is because it's not paying you to infinity, they have this concept called kind of like that breakaway that we talked about earlier today, where if someone below you, so if you are an RVP, and you can see here, right, open line RVP, RVP Gold, and Platinum RVP, commissions are paid on the commissionable revenue generated from customer billings below your fifth level down to the fifth level of the first RVP. So in simple plain English, what they're trying to say here is from, if you're an RVP or, down to the fifth level of the next RVP, because everyone doesn't get paid on the first 5, right? You get this after the fifth. So it goes down to the next RVP and their next fifth. That's what you get, but it's not to infinity, and it's definitely not, 20%. So essentially they kind of have like a stair-step breakaway for your personal customers, 20% being the highest. We get 30% when we sell to our customers. And in opulence, you get 8.5% on every single person all the way down to infinity. Whereas here, depending on the service, it's different commissions. And of course, it really depends on RVP to RVP or SV to SVP. So yeah, this is another example of how comp plans work. And so I just want to again clarify that yeah, so it's this part that they're referring to is for personal customers, like us selling to customers, and this is again for the entire team, which does for most people. If you're not these higher ranked, it will cut you off after a certain level. So, anyways, I hope that helps. And back to you, Henry.
Yeah, so we actually have to factor in also the 10% extra discount on top of the 30%, and also buy 12 get 1 free deal. That's another maybe 7-8%. So adds up to almost a 40, 45, 47% total in our commission instead of, let's say, 20%. So we do have a very high to our personal customers. If you have personal customers, we actually pay very, very well.
I think the main thing I want to say again, just to reiterate, is if you didn't understand everything fully today, like you don't have to. It's not actually, required. Like in this business, if you just simply share testimonials and constantly keep on sharing with your customers, that's really all you have to do to build this business here. But at the very least, I hope that you will see from what we've shown you and the depth of our analysis. We just want to make sure that you feel confident knowing that you are in the best company on the planet, because we've done so much of our due diligence as well too. So just have that confidence, have that belief, and again, you don't have to understand this stuff. You never do, honestly. But hope you guys enjoy the training anyway. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Rene. I know the time is really running out. I just wonder whether anybody would like to share the last word. I know we have Donna from Calgary, right? And
yes, Donna.
Yeah, we have 2 guests with us. We would, if you are online, we would like to hear from you, or if it's too late now, we can leave it to next time.
Actually, what's really funny is Nora, who's on the call.
Yeah.
You don't know, but Nora was also in my last business, PTN, as well too.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Nora, you want to share a few words of what we went through and about the comp plan, what we learned in opulence from Ramin? Nora, if you're there, I would love to have you share a few words too. Let's see if she's there. She might be on the other.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Nora.
Yes, she is.
I'm sorry that I was late. I was looking forward to this. And anyways, because I always like to watch a comparison. I was gonna ask you. I was looking for a company in Japan actually that I wanna have you do the dissect the comp plan.
Sure.
I was scrolling on the chat, but I cannot find the name of the company. I forgot. But anyway,
No worries.
because they pay so much, blah blah blah. But I know it's not really it doesn't beat opulence. But anyways, yes, we were with PTN, and what happened is I was mad actually when I saw your picture that you were already in opulence in October. When we were in the Bahamas. I was like, oh my God, I saw this guy when I first introduced to opulence, when I saw the email, right? And
Yeah.
then I went to the website, I'm checking, and I saw your picture on the website. I said, oh my God, this guy, he was at the conference in the Bahamas. They were
Okay, so,
because we were
just to explain the story. So in our last company, they had this conference on the cruise ship, and
yes.
so we were there together. But when we came back, my sister had met basically someone from opulence, and so long story short, I got started despite, because I guess I didn't want to, but when I saw the numbers, I couldn't deny it. So, and then she saw that basically, like she saw me in this company, but we were just on the conference ship like a few months before that. So that's what she's saying.
Yes. Yeah, what a big difference, because in the previous company that we were in, PTN was a travel, we pay monthly, but we don't see that money, right, Rene?
Yeah, we pay $50 just to maintain our website, whatever, and just
Yeah, and then I become a training director, and the next month I drop down to something else, regional manager. So it's so different. Yeah, it's so
So what
different.
you're talking about is that's a good point. So in that company, you can go up a rank, but you can drop back down again. So it's all fun and dandy when everyone is going up the ranks. But if everyone ever goes down a rank, everyone above goes down a rank too, usually because the ranks build on each other. So the other big issue that we didn't talk about today, we didn't have time, is can you D-rank? Can you get D-ranked? And if you get D-ranked, imagine the team spirit if like all these people together are getting D-ranked because one person drops down, the guy above drops down, the one above drops down, everyone drops down together. It's a terrible thing that happens in an organization. Thank you, Nora, for that, for reminding me about that.
One second, Rene. The worst part about that company too is what happened is one of my team member, they have this bonus. You recruit, let's say 10 people for that month, and then you get certain bonus. And
Yes.
she had 9 and she couldn't get the last one. She didn't get the bonus. It's like the effort is wasted.
It's crazy. So to explain this, I know what you're talking about, because in that company, if you had 10 recruits in your team, you get $1,000. Otherwise,
yes,
if it's
that's right.
1 to 9, you don't get it. So, but what happened to me though, Nora, I don't know if you know this, but let's say in the month we're in March, right? Let's say in the month of March, I actually sponsored the 10 people. So I knew I should have gotten that $1,000 bonus, right? What happened was by the beginning of April, okay, like say April the 2nd, someone in my team D-ranked. So then I D-ranked. So to get that $1,000, you have to have a certain rank and sponsor 10 people. Well, what happened was I D-ranked on April 2nd, for example, and they ran their commission report on April the 4th, let's say, because the cooling period, right? So by the time they ran the commission on April 4th, it looked like I was a lower rank. But the thing is, in the month of March, I was that rank. I had the 10 people, and Paul Henderson, the CEO, basically, I emailed, I called him. They basically denied me my bonuses, and that's actually what demotivated me, and it basically made me want to leave that company. So these are the kind of things that that I've been through, that thankfully we don't have these issues in Opulence. But yeah, so Nora, I just want to explain that because it's another good point you just brought up.
Yeah.
Bringing back bad memories for me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, Henry. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you, Nora.
for
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Well,
Henry,
great call today.
Can you just give me a half minute? Okay, I
Sure.
just want to share, the reaction of my husband to, what I'm doing. He's just simply saying, okay, I just noticed that we don't spend that money anymore because we were on GNS, the whole family, my parents, myself and my husband and even my daughter, and we spend a lot. We spend a lot. My husband for right now is saying, look, okay, you don't spend that much anymore. The other thing is you seem making money. You are making money. So that's a big difference. That he can feel that's why he started to look at this business also. That's one thing. The other thing is right now in my team, the last whole year we focus on product only, but from this year we start focusing on the compensation plan. And then the whole team, they actually can feel it. They didn't spend much, but they're earning money. And a lot of them, the good thing about this platform is we attract a lot people that they are never on any regimen before. That actually we are creating new market. Okay, and the team was so last week Rene did the Chinese call just similar to this one, and the whole team got so excited, and because we are giving people the good product, expensive, it's affordable. The other side, they are making money. Even they just started, they're making money from the retail profit. They're so excited about it, especially after knowing the difference from our company with other company. That's another thing. That's second. The third thing is I want to say something about the smart buy things. Because there was a question that asking about the auto ship question. It seems like a question as a problem that for any other company, auto ship is a problem. It sounds like a problem, but in our team, even the customer, they're not doing this business at all, but they also pay the auto ship to get the 10% off. So auto ship has never been a problem on this platform. That's what I want to share. Okay, we run out of time. Okay, go back to you, Henry.
Thank you for sharing, Helen.
All right. Yeah. I know we are always aware of the time going on, and it's getting close to 2 hours. So I think we are going to close today. We are going to leave a little more appetite for next time, so people would like to come back. I want to thank everybody for participating and sharing, and we all learned a lot. Thank you, Rene, and thank you for Nora and everybody that shared. We would continue doing our meeting next week, same time, 8 o'clock, or unless if you want to move to 8:30. But so that's it for now. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone. Have a good night. Thank you, Henry, for organizing.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Renee. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
You're welcome, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Night.
video.